For Zelda's 40th is this week. Let's just get that out of the way. As of the 21st, which is this Saturday, the Legend of Zelda franchise will have turned 40 years old. Fun little fact, I also turned 40 this year. It's almost like this was meant to be from the day I was born. That being said, Zelda has played a huge role in many people's lives growing up, and obviously even today with the youngins, especially with the franchise expanding so much with Breath of the Wild, bringing in so many new players that have never experienced Zelda before, including my fiance. So I thought it would be really fun this week to go over some different things. And the first thing that we want to talk about is just what does the franchise actually mean to us? Because we have our top 10 lists. Yeah, we can talk about our predictions, but really it's about what it means to us first, because it's been 40 years of this. And for some of us, we've been here practically the whole time. Maybe some of us have only been here for the last 10 years, 15 years, 20, whatever. But Zelda means different things to different people. And some people don't even like Zelda. And maybe somehow we have people on this show that don't like Zelda. I have no idea. That'd be a little weird today, but it can happen. For all I know, Game Bird's going to say, fuck Zelda. It's the worst franchise ever.
You know me.
Yeah, I know you. Exactly. He hates Zelda. See that Majora's Mask back there? That's just, he hates that game so much. It's there for dart target practice.
Just like Gino for you.
Yeah. Except I don't have, except you see a Gino behind me. See, I'm not that obsessed with my hate. See, I do a bunch of Mario soap and stuff from the movie back there. Just, people don't think I keep it clean around here. Well, proof I do buy soap. All right. So let's go around the room and talk about what Zelda means to us. And let's before Stash gets worn the fuck out, let's have him go first and tell us what does the Zelda franchise mean to you, man?
Well, it means a lot, obviously. It's really kind of where it all started for me. Obviously, I started with the NES. First game I played was Super Mario Brothers. This is back in '88. So I have a lot of stories. Actually, I done a collaboration video that'll go up this week with Nishquick, who's been on the channel. And obviously, I was writing down my notes, and I'm like, I mean, this would be an hour-long video just with what I have to say. I have to condense it down. And so, of course, I have these stories here I'm looking at. And so I'll give you, I don't know, version of them then, since I can talk a little bit longer here. So where it did start was 1989. It's probably the most formidable one. I had played Zelda before that, but it was for my 5th birthday. And leading up to that, I had never been able to choose a video game to purchase. It was always my older brother's choices, Richard and John, because I'm the youngest and I don't know any better, apparently. And so I don't get to choose a game. So when we go out, first off, being able to go out to buy a game was a big deal. I think we all remember that because we rented video games back in the day. Our local library here in Phoenix used to rent out Nintendo games, which was awesome. Like that was the reason to go to the library, to see if there's any video games that we haven't played yet, because it was free. But it was finally my turn. So I said, okay, I'm very excited. My mom was like, all right, we're going to go to Target, go pick out the game. Do you have any idea what you want? I'm like, of course I do. I already know what I want, but I'm not going to say. And my oldest brother, Richard, had asked if he could go with us. And it was like, well, for what? It's my birthday. And I already knew why he wanted to go with us. And he's still the same way today. But it was to try and influence the decision and to try and basically take the decision away from me and talk my mom into not letting me get a certain game. And that's what happened. So we get to Target. Obviously, I said, yeah, Mom, of course. I want The Legend of Zelda. You know this. And my brother told my mom, do not let him buy this. He will not like it. You have to do a ton of reading in the game. Okay? We can't even get far. I can't. John can't. My middle brother. He's
Mhm.
gonna hate it. He's gonna be so mad that he bought this game, and then once it's opened, he won't be able to return it. And he's literally saying this to my mom in the aisle, the video game aisle, and I can hear all this. And I'm just like, I'm fuming, dude. I'm so pissed. So my mom
That's evil,
literally
yeah.
said, yeah, she literally said that, yeah, you know, Steve, I think it's best that we listen to Richard. And dude, it was my one chance to buy a game. And you know, at this age, you don't have any money. You don't have any buying power.
Yeah.
Your birthday is your buying power. And so I was told to choose another game, and I was so mad. But I was also like, you got to keep it respectful too, because it was a big deal again to just buy a game. And so I chose Adventure Island, which I'm sure you guys are all familiar with. And it's a fine game. It's obviously not The Legend of Zelda. So we get home, I'm playing it. I've been playing it for like an hour or two. And my mom comes in, she asked, so, how do you like the game? Is it everything you wanted? I'm like, well, no. It's not even the game I wanted. You know that. You already knew this, Mom. So she says, do you really not like it? Like, you really want it? I'm like, no, I don't. I did not want this. I wanted Zelda. I really did. And so she said, okay, grab the game, grab the box. We're going back to Target. I was like, really? But how are they going to let us return it? It's already open. She said, we'll figure it out. So we went back. Mom must have talked to the manager. Obviously, there's a really strict, the policy's still strict today. You guys all know that. Once you open a game, that's it. Party's over, man. You're stuck with that game. Unless you want to trade it into GameStop for $5 after you just paid $70 for it. So I ended up being able to get Legend of Zelda. And I was very happy. And obviously I beat the game. And beating the game was a really special story too, because I remember waking up a Saturday morning at like 3 a.m. And this is after I got really far the night before. I think I stayed up to probably, I don't know, 10 or 11. And I found where World 9 is, bombed the location. And I went in for a second. I heard the music, because obviously the music changes in the final ninth dungeon. I'm like, oh shit. Like, I can't start this right now. Like, I need to be fresh. I need some sleep. I need a good runway, right? So I was like, all right, I'm gonna have to go to bed anyways, because I'm gonna be told to go to bed, because that was the age of that. So I was like, all right. Again, you guys will remember this, kids. You didn't have TVs everywhere. There was a TV in the living room, and then I think a year or two before this, our grandparents bought us a TV for the kids, for the three of us to share. So we all shared this one TV, and it was in my brother's room. So I also had to factor in that, again, I'm the youngest. So if I want to use the TV, I have to hope that they have other plans. Otherwise, I'm not going to be able to use it, right? And so I was like, okay, well, what if I just wake up before them? They'll probably sleep till 6 or 7. That might give me enough time to beat the game. I don't know. So that's what I did. I got up at 3. And if you guys remember this too, I turned the TV on with the remote and pressed mute immediately, because you never know what the volume is. You know what I mean? When you turn it on. And my brother's sleeping in that room. So like, I'm sneaking in, and I'm like, I hope that the glow from the CRT TV doesn't wake him up. So I mute it real quick, turn the volume down, and then unmute it so I can still hear it, but the volume's on like level 2. And he wakes up around like 7. And my brother John was like, oh shit, like, where are you? Are you at the end of the game? I'm like, yeah, dude. I'm like, I'm at the end. And he was really happy for me. I'm like, are you up now? And he's like, yeah. He's like, I'm gonna watch you beat this. Like, this is a big moment. And so I was able to, of course, turn it up. We put it on the speakers because we had it hooked up to the receiver. And yeah, that's when I beat The Legend of Zelda. And obviously that was a really special moment. That's growing up, we didn't have guides. Nobody my age knew how to beat the game. Because I think I beat it when I was, would have been when I was 5, so in 1990. Nobody my age was playing The Legend of Zelda. That was way too hard for them. And if they were, they didn't get far. My brothers, of course, didn't get far. Nobody knew. There was no internet. You just had to figure it out. Yes. So we just had to figure it out back then. And that's what I've done ever since with all the games. I still don't use guides. I think it takes a lot of the joy out of the video games. That was my first Zelda story. Okay. That's the basis. I'm going to give you some very fast hits real quick, and then we'll pass it off. The next one that was really cool was middle school. Stayed home sick for an entire week of school to play Ocarina of Time. I faked sick. My mom knows this now, of course. She's watched the podcast, and she's watched it when I told this story. And I remember seeing her, and she's like, "I can't believe you!" And like, shoves me. Like, what? I was like, "What are you doing?" I had no idea what she was even thinking about. She's like, "Your story about Zelda." She's like, "You really weren't sick?" I'm like, "Oh, Mom." I'm like, "Yeah."
That's awesome.
The first couple of days, I honestly, I didn't feel great. I mean, I could have went to school, but yeah, for the rest of the week, yeah, no, I wasn't sick. I don't want to play the game. I can't believe you. I can't believe you lied like that. I'm like, Mom, it was for Zelda. This is first 3D Zelda. You know how long I waited for this? I said, you remember when it came out on Super Nintendo? That was an excruciatingly long wait. And it was funny. My mom would take the N64 controller before she'd leave for work, and she'd hide it in her room. I don't know if your parents ever did this. Like, if you're going to be homesick, they'd hide something like your controller. And so she'd hide it. And of course, I looked for it, found it, took that mental snapshot image of exactly how the controller looked, exactly how the wire was wound up. So I could put it back, about 30 minutes before Mom would usually get home, exactly how it was. And I do it 30 minutes before. That way the N64 is also not hot. Because Mom would check the temperature of not just of me, but of the N64 too. That's how she rolled. So that was really fun because, again, we didn't have cell phones. It was a different time. I had a pager. I had a clear blue Motorola pager back then. And so, of course, when I came back to school, everyone's like, dude, we thought you were dead. Like, are you okay? Like, I'm better than ever, man. I just beat Ocarina of Time. They're like, what? It's like, yeah, dude, that's what I did the whole week. And so it was very funny back then. Senior year of high school, got my apartment right before graduating, and christened it, as I'd say, with beating Wind Waker at my first place on a flat screen TV that I saved up for, which these had just came out back then. It had progressive scan. You guys remember how big of a deal that was to actually be able to use the progressive scan feature on the GameCube? It was like cutting edge back then. Camping out for 3 days in front of Best Buy for the Nintendo Wii, which of course was to play Twilight Princess at launch. That was a great one. This one was really good too. I was managing Island Restaurants. For 10 years, I managed that restaurant chain here in Arizona and in California. And at the time, I was in San Diego at Mission Beach, living out there. And I had woke up on my day off. I was stretching, getting ready to go to basketball at the gym. And I had like a side ache really bad. And I'm like, that's weird. I'm just stretching. It got worse and worse throughout the day to the point that I was like completely hunched over, like completely. And I remember telling my cousin, because he just moved out there to come live with me in Cali for the summer, my cousin Jim. And I was like, yeah, dude, I'm not feeling good. I think I'm gonna go to urgent care and go see what's up. I'm like, this something's not right. So I drove myself to urgent care, and mind you, I'd only lived in San Diego for a handful of months. And doctor got me on the table. He's using his little hammer, and he's like hammering my stomach, right? And he was like, your appendix is about to burst. Like, immediately, I'm going to call the emergency room. I'm going to tell them you're on your way right now. You need to go directly there. Like, who drove you here? It's like, I drove. What do you mean you drove? I'm like, I don't know, dude. I didn't think you're going to tell me I need to go to the emergency room immediately. He's like, oh my God. He's like, do you want an ambulance? I'm like, no, I don't want to pay for that. I'll drive myself. I drove myself here. He's like, I understand. He's like, that's fine. I get it. He's like, just go straight there. And so, of course, working in the restaurant business, there's a lot of heavy lifting involved. And so I had to get an emergency appendectomy. And the moral of this story is that, well, of course, I couldn't go back to work for like 2 weeks. So what do you think that freed up time to do? Play Skyward Sword. Yes. Finally got to play it. And of course, there is motion controls, and I just got, stitched up literally at an appendectomy. So it wasn't always comfortable, but it was a really special moment, because once you start like working in the workforce and you're managing, that you're never going to get time off. There's never going to be a perfect window ever to play a game and have, once again, a nice runway to actually just relax and play this straight through. Unless, of course, you have to have an emergency appendectomy, and then you can't go to work. And I had my runway, and so I know exactly what I'm going to do. It's time to play Skyward Sword and beat it, play it from beginning to end. And so that was a really special moment. And then my last one, which I think is very funny, because, just at the age I'm at, I don't know if anyone else has done this, but I was at Loan Depot. And again, I was with Loan Depot Mortgage for 10 years, and I was interviewing for the director of operations position, and they were asking how I got so good at troubleshooting all of our systems. They're like, you fix stuff that IT has no clue how to do. Like, how do you do it, but also do all the other jobs that you do? And like actually your main job, because that's not my main job to fix things, obviously. And I said, you know what? I was like, I don't know if you guys will understand this. You might think I'm being funny, but I'm not. I said, I think it goes back to childhood, like to being a kid with The Legend of Zelda. I said, honestly, the way I'm able to solve problems and troubleshoot is because, honestly, playing The Legend of Zelda, learning all the trial and error and doing it my whole life. So you got to understand, I started playing this when I was 4. That was when we had first rented it. And it's never stopped. And of course, I play other video games too that are similar with problem solving, but I don't use guides. I don't do any of that. Like, I am the guide. I figure it out for myself. And so when I'm doing stuff like this at work, it's like second nature. And
Stash,
of course,
I
I
could
got
totally
the job.
Stash. I could totally, if this still existed. Obviously, it doesn't today. But if you remember the Nintendo hotline where people would call in when they're stuck on a game, I could totally picture you doing that job.
Dude, I would have
like,
loved
oh
to
yeah,
do
dude,
it.
I got your back. Push the blocks to the
No,
right
I'm glad
3
you
times,
brought
then
that
forward
up.
and light the 2 torches, and you're good.
Also, I want to mention this. I'm glad you brought that up, just because this is interesting for all of us. my cousin Jim messaged me like a month ago, and he said, "Hey, you know, a lot of the family like watches the podcast, right?" I'm like, "No, I had no idea. Like, honestly, I had no idea." And he said, "We have a family member that worked at Nintendo." I'm like, "What? What are you talking about?" Yeah. And
Was it an uncle?
he said his cousin, his cousin Jamie, I think his cousin Jamie or Natalie, her husband worked at Nintendo Power at the Nintendo Power hotline. He worked
it's on the
doing
tip
that
line.
job.
That's
I'm like,
cool.
no way.
That's
Yeah.
Want to
And,
talk to him?
he's-
I need some help in the games back in the day.
Well, he was saying, he's like, you should have him on the podcast as a guest, and you guys could talk to him. Like, that's a really good idea.
That'd be
And he
That
sick.
said
would be
he'd be
cool.
down to do it. So yeah, just heads up. That would be really fun. I think that would be an interesting guest to have on. He doesn't do podcast or anything, but he would obviously do that. But at any rate, those are my stories. Did end up getting the job, and my director at the time, Caroline, really cool, big gamer as well. She was maybe a year or two older than me. I'm 40 now, so she's probably like 42. And she grew up on Nintendo. In fact, she was there to like camp out for the Nintendo Switch and the NES Mini and the Super Nintendo Mini. And we made sure like everyone in the office that wanted one got one. So we'd send people. Home Depot and Best Buy were across the street from each other. So we could just send people in line to go make sure we all got it. So I knew she would understand the reference. Like there was obviously a panel of people, but she got it. She obviously, I think that helped me get the job because she understood what Zelda is. So those are some of the stories. Thank you guys for listening.
Yeah.
Okay. There we go. All right. Let's go to one of our guests. How about Geek Apprentice? What does Zelda mean to you?
Oh gosh. So what's funny is I've answered this type of question like 3 other times for like other collaborations in my own video and like in the past 2 weeks, and I'm like, it's almost like it's an anniversary or something, and this keeps coming up. So at its core, it's childhood family memories. My family, I'm the youngest of 3. I have 2 older brothers, so naturally I learned about gaming through them. I was exposed to Ocarina of Time at the ripe age of 3. I can tell you it's not rated E for everyone. But I loved watching my brothers play it. That's typically my extent of gaming as a young child, was watching them. They would play the games. And funny thing, and I talk about this a lot whenever I stream, is my mom played the games with us. My dad couldn't care less, but my mom was the one that was like, she was helping solve the puzzles for my brothers on the Sega Genesis when I was like 2 years old because they couldn't figure it out. But she would play with us, and she had no idea what was happening. But for her, she was like, this is something all 3 of my kids like, so I'm going to join them so that we can have family time together. And like till this day, she'll know, she knew about the Animal Crossing trailer or whatever for the Switch 2 edition before I did. She texted me and was like, hey, did you know there's new stuff for Animal Crossing? I was like, excuse you, how do you know this before me? So that's my mom. But like, as far as Zelda is concerned, I have vivid memories of being a child and watching my brothers play, again, specifically Ocarina of Time. But my mom did not know what the enemy names were, so it didn't matter what my brothers were fighting. She would just shout from wherever she was in the house, "Kill the Stalfos!" because she knew that was the name of one of the enemies. So she would shout that, and she messes up the names a lot, so she doesn't have a channel. But I think it'd be funny if she streamed herself doing games, but she refuses. But like, she couldn't remember the name Wizrobe when she was playing Breath of the Wild several years back, and she kept calling them Whizbangs. So her name is Scared of Whizbangs.
I love this. I have a similar thing that I'll mention when it gets around to me. I love that, though. That makes me so happy.
Oh yeah, my mom's hilarious. And the third thing she misnamed is she couldn't say Kakariko Village, so she would call it Karaoke Village. It was just
That's
great.
awesome.
So at its core, Zelda is like childhood memories, but somewhere around Wind Waker is when we kind of fell off the wagon, if you will. Because my eldest brother definitely fell into the camp of, oh, Wind Waker's too childish looking, so he stopped playing. My other brother was like, Zelda, what do I care? I love it. And my mom and I, once again, my mom would annoy the crap out of my other brother with the Tingle Tuner and Wind Waker to the point where like he's throwing fits, and I don't blame him. When every 2 seconds you're doing the button that makes him go, hey, yeah, that would drive me insane too. But my brothers both just got interested in other kinds of games, and I didn't have friends that played video games, so I kind of didn't keep up with it either, except Animal Crossing was like the only game I kind of kept up with. But then I went to college, and I moved like 13 hours away, so I had to get all new set of friends. And I found friends who played video games, particularly Zelda. One thing led to another, and this would have been during like Zelda Tube in its infancy. And I was lost down the rabbit hole because I was like, oh, in my mind, there was Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, Wind Waker, and Link's Awakening. And maybe some other game that I realized later was Twilight Princess. I didn't know about any of this other stuff. So I went to look up, my brother suggested, hey, why don't you look up a Let's Play for Twilight Princess? That's the last one that we started to play and we never finished. And I was like, oh, okay. I think we started it on my Wii. And I looked up the Let's Play, and that just massive rabbit hole. I was like, there's a timeline. Is there? There's all this lore, and I didn't know. And I went insane, which led me to finding Game Over Jesse's channel, which I was majoring in theater. I got my degree in theater, and I did dabble in some voice acting. So then I learned what Discord was. I joined Game Over Jesse's Discord. They had a little, it was him and Capt Bergerson. They had a little audition for like, hey, we're going to let viewers send in a little audio clip of themselves, and they can do some voiceovers and videos if we like how they sound. Within 10 minutes of me sending mine, Jesse messaged me and said, oh my gosh, we want your voice. And I was like, why? But okay. I was excited. And that led to me voicing one video, then 2, then 3, then 4, then 5. And then it was, hey, do you want to just be in our podcast? And I was like, okay. Again, I had just started doing the YouTube thing. I didn't know what I was going to do with it. To be fair, I'm not sure I still know what I'm doing with it all these years later, because I started in 2018 when I graduated. And then, yeah, everything kind of just blossomed from there. And it led to being able to find an online community, which I would have never been able to conceive of at the time. So it's childhood memories, but it's also just, I don't know, all this, I still call it a hobby now, with the streaming and the videos. And it's super fun to finally have people I can talk about these games with, because my brothers aren't super interested anymore. And I didn't have in-person friends who cared about video games, which, not that everyone has to like video games, but it's nice to, you know, be like, oh my gosh, did you see that new trailer for Tears of the Kingdom? And have a bunch of people be like, I sure did. Let's talk about it. And it's, yeah, it's really cool. And I have bazillions of memories with that, but I'll leave it at that.
Okay. Love hearing these stories, man. You know what? Let's go to someone who maybe doesn't have as deep of a history, but maybe we'll be surprised. How about Eric? What does Zelda mean to you?
Oh man, the games, I haven't played a ton of them, but obviously throughout yours and mine friendship, I've watched you play pretty much all of them. So I feel like I've played all of them. Well, wait, hold on. I guess I have played parts of all of them, because anytime you went to the bathroom, you're like, here, play.
Dude, that was a huge thing back in the day. I don't know.
Yeah.
Is that still a thing with kids today? Like just watching their friends play games?
We used to do that all the time. Yeah.
I know they watch like live streamers and like people like Queso and stuff now, but I'm like, but like, how about actually watching your friend play the game like in person? It happened a lot.
Yeah,
Anyways, go
that
on.
was the thing.
Yeah. But so there's that. The games, like I said, I haven't played a ton of them, but Zelda in itself, the franchise has opened up a bunch of different things. Honestly, without Zelda, we probably wouldn't be sitting here. You know, the podcast, things like that. I even know I never would have went to E3, at least the first time, without Zelda. So it has opened a ton of doors and things that I never thought I'd be able to do. So yeah, it's been, you know, the new games are freaking fantastic, and I'm looking forward to see what they bring out next. But yeah, no, it's been wonderful because it's opened a lot of doors for me. So,
all right, let's hop on over to guest Tiger Time. What's the Zelda franchise mean to you, man?
Yeah, it actually means a ton. I think during my first podcast appearance, I mentioned how I don't even know if it's my memory, if it's one of those like you see a picture as a kid and you might believe it, but you're not really sure if it was real. There's this photo of me in my mom's lap, and Zelda's on in the background, NES Zelda, and she's like got me down in her lap, and then a controller in her hand, so I'm kind of like between her and the controller, and I feel like I look at that picture and kind of see where I'm at now with games, and I'm kind of like, all right, that's where the seed was planted, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And then growing up, you know, I had an NES, SNES, N64, and the first game I played was either NES Zelda or Excitebike. I don't really remember which one, but both awesome in different ways. But yeah, I remember playing that NES Zelda, and my mom would, you know, she'd watch me play, and she still doesn't really understand what's going on in games that she plays, but she has a good time, which honestly, it's all you can ask for. Yeah. So when I specifically see NES Zelda, I just think about like how that's where the little gamer seed was planted. But then when I was growing up, it was really Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask. I had the Pikachu N64, and it was awesome. I'd have my cousin over, and again, me and him would do that thing. One of us would be playing and the other would just be sitting on the couch. And in a lot of ways, it was even somehow better than local multiplayer, like actually playing together. Cause it was just, I don't know. It was fun to have someone watching and kind of getting a different perspective. But I think about those times in my bedroom eating like cheese balls and like 64-ounce bags of gummy bears. We'd go crazy on all that stuff. But I think particularly Majora's Mask that's a game that's always stuck in my head. And that's kind of when I realized, because I played Ocarina of Time first, and then I played Majora's Mask. My older cousin gave it to me, and it was just like, I don't know. When he gave it to me, I was almost kind of like, is this some weird N64 Zelda hack? Like, what is this game? And it kind of made me realize that I like weird games when I didn't before. I was like, this is crazy. There's a smiling moon. I like the danger in this game, but at the same time, when I was a kid, it was kind of freaky. So I think that it showed me, though, I love weird art styles, and it kind of set the foundation for, I have this interesting comparison with Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask. And I actually kind of like the weirder, crazier, shorter experience than kind of the bright. And Ocarina of Time has those scary moments, of course, but I feel like every Zelda game has kind of taught me a little bit more about my tastes. So then I kind of think back to Link to the Past too. That was a game that I fell in love with trying to like speed run it, I guess, before I even knew what speed running was, because it was so freaking replayable. And particularly that game, they had the little player's handbook. I don't remember what it was called, but it was, they used to come with every game, basically. Those little booklets.
The little manuals, yeah.
Yeah, the manuals. Yeah, exactly. The art in that was so good. I don't know if you guys remember, but
Yes.
it was killer.
Totally.
Like, the enemy designs.
I miss that stuff so much. Yeah. Manuals, man.
I know that they were the best. Yeah, I'd read through those things like on the bus and stuff. That way I could kind of be playing the game in my mind when I couldn't, so particularly that one. I remember the enemies were so cool looking, and you could kind of read the little lore about them. And it just kind of like brought the game to life in a really cool way. And that's what sticks in my head about Link to the Past. And fun fact about me, I kind of grew up on an island, kind of off the coast. And so obviously growing up there, you can probably see the natural connection. Wind Waker was like the coolest game I'd ever played. It was like, I could connect to it in such a crazy way, especially with the young Link. Because I was I think I was like 8 when I played it. So it was like Toon Link and I were hitting it off. Because I was like, okay, this guy's also a small dude trying to find his way off this island. And it was like the coolest thing. And I thought it was like the most beautiful game I'd ever seen. And it also had kind of a weird mystery of the sea aspect. Like I always felt like I could find something cool out there. And again, just kind of that relating it to my hometown with the Wind Waker was always a really special touch that the Wind Waker will always have for me, for sure. But then interestingly, after that, of course, Twilight Princess. And again, I probably played that, it came out 4 years later. I probably played it when I was like 10 or 11 or 12. And so it was just like a cool progression because Link's obviously older in that, and he's kind of a young man. So it was like Link and I were aging together. It was this fun little journey. But again, it was cool because Twilight Princess to me was like, oh, Zelda's going weird again. Like Majora's Mask kind of showed me that I liked. And I don't know. I remember specifically again with that game, my cousin and I, we kind of started hanging out again, and that game kind of brought us together again. So Minish Cap, all the Game Boy DS games, they all bring me back to like, I don't know, mostly bus trips. Like I'd try to sneak in as many minutes as I could on the bus trips. We'd go to the YMCA. That was an awesome trip because I got a little extra time. I remember trying to play Link's Awakening, and like if there was any daylight at all, not being able to see and play the game, the struggles there with the Game Boy. There's just like some core memory that's unlocked when I play every game. Minish Cap, I remember my aunt took that away from us as kind of, again, a punishment, kind of like hiding the controller, except she went just full game. Like, nope, no chance of playing this. I'm going to hide it. So she put it on top of the fridge for some reason. And I never saw it again. It just it disappeared into one of those house black holes that I feel like we've all experienced, that sometimes somehow things just disappear. And even when you move out of a space, it's still not there. So it's like, where are these going? So I never beat that as a kid. So luckily I got to revisit that. And kind of the final kind of chronological memory here is I was in college in the 2015 to 2017 era. And I'd kind of just been caught up in life and gotten really busy, kind of like you were saying, the Geek Apprentice. Like it just, I don't know. I still played games, but I wasn't really connected with it. And so, Breath of the Wild, like I feel like it was for so many people, was so interesting. Just like seeing it and trying to think open world Zelda and like, how's this going to work? And then obviously playing it, and you never forget that moment when you first walk out onto the Great Plateau. And I don't know, it just really, I feel like particularly the Great Plateau is like, oh, this weirdly somehow, I actually made a video about this. It kind of feels like home, even though I've never been here before, and that's a really special feeling that not every game can create. But particularly, I was like, this is why games are awesome. Like this is the best form of storytelling out there, in my opinion, because you can't necessarily immerse yourself and feel that way unless you're in a game. And again, it was like, oh yeah, what am I doing? What is this 2-year hiatus? I got to get on this backlog and start playing these games. And I remember Tears of the Kingdom, I almost lost my relationship because I was like, I got to play this 15 hours a day. Like I couldn't stop. I'd take it off the dock. And she'd think we were going to watch TV together. And I just like still have it handheld, and we survived, luckily. But yeah, these games, the Zelda games are special. They just,
Bless you.
oh, was that a sneeze? Yeah, bless you. Yeah.
Thank you.
But yeah, they just, I don't know. Anytime I play a Zelda game, it unlocks a memory for me. It creates a feeling even beyond just a memory. Like, I feel like not every memory can do that. Like, not every memory, when you have it, you feel how you felt in that moment. With the Zelda games, it's like I remember myself and my cousin playing, but I also like feel just that nostalgia. Like, it's there whenever I play. So they're good. They're good.
All
yeah.
right. Thanks.
I love, by the way, I love hearing all these stories. Makes me so happy.
Yeah, it's really cool to see.
Yeah.
Yeah. Makes you very,
It's a
very
little
happy,
emotional. I'm not gonna lie.
Hmm?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I said I'm getting a
don't
little emotional. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm
I
getting
don't
a
know if
little
anyone saw. I
emotional.
went like this earlier. I had a little tear come to my eye at some of these stories. Zelda's one of the few video games I get actually emotional about. That said, it's not my turn. Let's hear a Game Bird classic. What's it mean to you,
Oh
buddy?
boy, man. Where do I even start with this? And like Thunderstash, Nishquick reached out to me to collab on his new video that's going to be coming soon about, sharing fondest memories. And it was so hard for me just thinking of like every game from the series, all the memories throughout my entire life, since a little boy. What memory meant the most to me. And so definitely check out his video when that drops to hear what I came up with. But like Thunderstash, I started with, I've got it over here. I've got my little show and tell. I started with this gold cartridge.
Yeah, man.
And this NES, it was a hand-me-down NES that was gifted to me, I think when I was 4 years old. And this, I didn't even have the Mario and Duck Hunt yet. I had NES in this. And this game changed my life. And it, like was kind of mentioned earlier, without this combination, I don't know if there'd be a Game Bird Classic today, because this is really what shaped me as a gamer. Zelda's been my favorite video game series since. Nothing's come close for me. And I learned so much from that game at a young age. I learned, as maybe as corny as it might sound to some people, but I learned perseverance. The game was way too hard for a 4-year-old to play, period.
Good point.
Yeah.
I learned perseverance. I also, I learned, or the game sparked my imagination and my sense of adventure at a really young age as well. And it took me at least a couple years to beat this game, maybe even longer. I don't recall exactly when, but I'll never forget burning every bush, bombing every wall, every rock to find all the secrets and everything that's to be discovered in this game. And I don't know, that like that starting moments where it's dangerous to go alone, take this, and you get a sword and you're off, and that theme song kicks in, just stuck with me. And shifting from that to getting my hands on the Super Nintendo, which became my favorite console of all time, and still might be my favorite console of all time. The Switch 1 came close, but I think about all the series that I care so much about, whether it's Mario or Metroid or Final Fantasy, and what happened to those series on the Super Nintendo and how they really evolved into their peak pure forms, especially A Link to the Past, which to this day I still consider a perfect 10 out of 10 game. I mean, the music alone, the dungeons, the bosses, and I don't know, going from this first game to A Link to the Past, and how magical. And I think that was the very first time, and of course I said this a million times as a child, I said it every generation, but I believe Link to the Past was the first time I ever thought to myself, it's never going to get better than this. Like this is going to be the best sounding, the best looking, the best gameplay. There's nowhere beyond here. And yeah, I don't know. Ocarina of Time, again, that another one that like made such a massive impact on my childhood, and taking an adventure that I grew up with, starting with The Legend of Zelda at 4 years old, and then entering the realm of 3D and that opening title sequence with the piano, and just that oh my god moment, that goosebumps, like holy crap, I can't even believe I'm playing this right now moment. And all the deep memories. And Stash mentioned about how there was no internet, there was no like looking up, what do I do? And the memories with Ocarina of Time, especially, and Majora's Mask as well, but Ocarina of Time, I remember so vividly of being on the schoolyard, and just talking to kids. And, secrets were such a big part of video games, and someone sharing a secret that they found out, and you'd be like, nah, bullshit, dude. Like, there's no way. No way. But then you still go home and you put a bomb next to that one tree or that next wall just to see if, just in case it was true. And so many memories like that. Majora's Mask, Tiger Time. This game was so weird and quirky and moody, and made such an impression on me. And this was the first and only game that I ever bought a walkthrough for. I bought the Prima game. Still have it. I think I showed it on the show one time. I still have it to this day because I had to have every item, I had to explore every nook and cranny of this fascinating world. In the game, the time system, the 3-day cycle, the kind of Groundhog's Day 3-day cycle where everything you do affects the next day, and certain people are only at certain places at certain times on certain days where you can move along the quest or get a mask, was so unbelievable to me and felt so far ahead of its time. I had never experienced anything like that on a console game before. And I often think about just kind of the sense of dread that game for the first time in a Zelda, there was tense moments in the series, but that game, that sense of dread, thinking about like how you got closer to those final hours, how the music would get a little bit more up, a little bit more disturbing until you're in those final hours. And the theme in Clocktown is like horrifying. Dread inducing music. Just such a great memory to Wind Waker. I mean, this game blew my mind, and I was the odd kid. I'll never forget coming to school. I was in 8th grade when Wind Waker got like officially revealed. There was, I forget if it was E3 or Space World, when that first trailer dropped for Wind Waker, and they revealed the new art style, and a lot of the kids were expecting that Space World, that more Ocarina of Time, a little bit more of photorealism. And I remember everyone laughing about it and saying how bad it looked. And I watched that trailer, and I was the weirdo because I thought the game looked so unbelievably next gen. I couldn't believe how insane the graphics were on it. The characters weren't all jaggy or polygonal at all, or with like the derpy, like photorealistic faces. It looked like a Saturday morning cartoon with smooth, clean lines. And Link, there's a scene in the trailer I'll never forget where he's like scaling a wall, and you see the pupils moving left and right as he's like kind of checking, and him in the barrel sneaking up, attacking one of the moblins, and the moblin grabs his ass and jumps in the air and like reacting to where he got hit, and just my mind being blown by this. But I remember getting like teased about that, and people even back then just thinking I was a Zelda fanboy, but I legit thought the game was stunning. And just like my excitement in seeing such a different look for the series. And to this day, one of my favorite things about when we get new Zelda games is the new art style. What's the new art style going to be? It's one of my most hype moments. And it was probably the only disappointing part about Tears of the Kingdom getting announced. I was so thrilled about that game. The only thing I complained about the announcement, it's like, oh, well, they're using the same art style again, which you expect in a sequel. But I always get amped to see what the next game's going to look like. And yeah, I don't know, this you know, Stash even mentioned like, you know, at work, your problem solving skills. And that takes me back. I remember when, you know, one of my good friends invited me to do an escape room because I had never done one before. And like those Zelda skills came in clutch, like every escape room
You brought your bombs in there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did you have to light 2 torches?
Yep. but light a couple torches, push a couple blocks, you know. But the other thing too is a huge part of this that I haven't really mentioned yet is the music and how important the music is to me. And it's so fascinating that like I could hear almost like any song from the series randomly could pop on YouTube or whatever, or because I do listen to video game music, and like I know the song, I know the game, I know the moment or whatnot, and I don't know. Music also has such a profound impact on you, and I can't think of a series that has, you know, maybe Mario and Final Fantasy are up there, but a series that's had as profound of an impact musically on me as The Legend of Zelda. And you know, the vibe, kind of Tiger Time, you mentioned how each game kind of teaches you something new about yourself. You know, there's always a new tonal vibe to each entry. Some games are darker than others. Some are a bit more emotional than others. Some have a bit better sense of adventure and a little bit more brighter in their storytelling than others. They're each very, very unique, and it have hit me differently each time. But for me, it's always a huge event. To me, it's the biggest event of every generation, and not only do I prepare for it with either vacation time or, you know, in the past when I didn't have a job that had vacation, so I'd always do the nose plug. It was my signature move. I'll never forget. In fact, I'll never forget my best friend who got to come on the show, my buddy Colin, who manages our fantasy critic game league right now. When I met him, he had a big party, and I had just met him and stuff through one of my other good friends, and we hit it off over video games. We shared a lot of the same video game history and a love for the same series. And the Wii was coming out the next day, and I was already planning to go show up early in the morning and wait outside. So was he. So he's like, "Hey, dude, you want to stay the night and like can't like show up at the mall outside of EB Games or GameStop, whatever it was, at like 3 in the morning?" And I'm like, "Hell yeah, I'm down. I'll just call out of work." So we line up. We're in the mall. It's like 4 in the morning, 5 in the morning, and I was working at Costco at the time. I called Costco and I plugged my phone. It's me. I'm really and I just met Colin, so he's just like, "What is this guy doing?" I'm like, "I can't come in. I'm so sorry." Awesome. But the point is, it's always I plan for every release, and you know, when I met my wife and stuff, and we got married, she, you know, we were married through and together through Tears of the Kingdom, and I had to let her know in advance, just so you know, like this is like a once in 5 to 7 years event, and this day is like really special to me, and I just want to prepare because I'm probably gonna like tapped out, and it's emotional for me too. You know, it's not emotional in the sense that when a game comes out I cry, but like there's a physical reaction, there's an emotional reaction, and yeah, I don't know. I've never quite felt the same for any release in my whole life, and I think that's just a testament to the power of this series and the impact it's had on me as a gamer. And you know, I mentioned there might not be a Game Bird Classic without it, but with that comes, you know, I'm on this amazing podcast with amazing friends that have made Nintendo Prime, Thundersash Gaming, Eric Moore, and all the wonderful guests like you guys and everyone who tunes in every Wednesday night. Like this is stuff that I feel so blessed about, and such a massive highlight for my week. And again, I go back to like it all started with this gold cartridge right here. So Legend of Zelda, thank you for an amazing 40 years. And I'm looking forward to 40 more, because I know if there's one game I know I'll be playing in my 80s, it's Zelda. Unless it goes games of service microtransaction slop, then I don't know.
Extra $5 to unlock the Master Sword.
Mm-hmm.
And even then, he said, "I don't know." So there's still a chance. There's
the morbid curiosity.
There's the.
I also
actually
one last point I'll make. I mentioned this it was one of my first episodes as a co-host. I asked the podcast, and it was so funny because Thundersash laughed and was like, "Dude, I've thought about that many times. I have a weird irrational fear of either finding out I'm terminal and not going to make it to a Zelda launch in the future, like not making it to a new Zelda, or something happening to me on the way to go pick up the new Zelda." Like, it's been a weird irrational fear that I've had for years. I'm like, does anyone else ever worry about this? That a game's going to be looming right on the horizon and you're just not quite going to make it.
The closest I have is I gave birth 10 days before Echoes of Wisdom. So that was not something right away. I wanted to, but I was like, I haven't slept in like 10 days. So no.
See, I haven't had that yet, but I turned 40 this year, getting over the hill. And what's interesting is I had a prediction back in high school that I would die when I'm 50. So I'm not worried about the next 3D Zelda. But I'm a little concerned I might not make it to the one after. So that is in the back of my mind that I made that prediction, and I'm really hoping that prediction is right. But
what was the context for this?
All right, I'll play it for you.
The context was I didn't. Thanks, Dad. The context was back then I thought 50 was ancient, and so I would see lots of old people. My mom. Okay, let me put the context here. My mom was a social worker, and she dealt with a lot of different types of clients. And some of them were obviously people that were extremely elderly. And I would see how much pain they're in and how much suffering they're in every single day just to even sometimes breathe. And I was like, shit, I should be dead at 50 then.
Okay.
Now, I know in hindsight, that was just me being a naive child, not understanding that those people were much older than 50. But so I'm hoping that prediction is completely incorrect, and I actually have a letter. Do you guys remember at school they make you write a letter to your future self?
Yeah, the time capsule.
A letter to my future self that you will die at 50. So
that's insane.
So that's kind of the story there.
That's funny.
That is
well. There's only one person that still has to go. No, I'm just kidding. Joycey.
Huh?
What does Zelda mean to you?
Oh, that's right. I'm part of the podcast. I thought I was just watching for a while. Okay. I'm so into everybody's story. I'm like, wow, really? So a lot of you, or not a lot of you, but some of you have seen me on the Nintenbyte podcast. So if you've heard this story before, I apologize. And also if you're also used to me being on Mike's podcast, and I'm always hot, and this light has me melting. So, okay. Woo, child. All right. It was a dark and stormy night. No, seriously. When I was a child, young child back in the 80s, so I am actually older than Zelda. I'm over the hill, Nate. Come on over. It's fine. You don't die. You're brittle. Your bones don't suddenly get brittle and fall off. Nothing bad happens. I swear.
That's at 50. That's in the.
Yeah. It's at 50.
No. My mom's almost 80 and she's still hot. She still gets hit on. So I'm not really worried. But anyway, so my dad was back in the 80s. He was a computer and software engineer, which was huge back then. And my mom is just very, very studious. She's always very office job, straightforward kind of person. So they unfortunately divorced when I was around 2. So my dad had the video games, and my mom was like, video games? What are you talking about? We don't play video games. What's wrong with you? Go read a book. no problem. I like to read too, so it wasn't really a punishment, and I didn't think it was odd, right? But my dad was like, well, your brother had the Nintendo, so now that brother is too old or older, your turn, you could play with it, whatever. And of course I played Mario. My brother and I beat Contra together, which was an amazing moment.
Yeah.
And then there was this little gold cartridge, and I was like, what's a Zelda? I don't know what Zelda is. Pop that sucker in, and the strange old man said, it's dangerous to go alone. Take this. And he gives me this little wooden sword. And that was the day. I don't even remember what day it was. I don't remember exactly how old I was, but I didn't know you could bomb walls. I didn't know what this game was about. I'm just roaming around, hitting enemies, going into different caves and finding, oh wow, you could bomb walls in dungeons. And y'all know the Dark Nut room, the blue ones that take like 5 hits, and it slows down the screen to 1 frame per second. And I loved every second of that joint. You couldn't tell me nothing. And again, like the guys have already said, we did not have guides. If you're lucky, you have friends that are playing the same game. You had to go to school and talk to them or whatever and try to figure it out. And nobody played Zelda, so I was kind of on my own. Imagine my surprise when I got grown and I was like, this is only a 5-hour game. What are you talking about? What? I spent hours in Zelda. In the first Zelda, I spent hours in that game, days, full weekends, like, because I saw my while I lived mainly with my mom, I saw my dad all the time. He lived right around the corner from us. I saw my dad all the time. And he's like, well, baby girl, do you want to go get in the car and listen to some music? And let's go get White Castle. Mind you, I love White Castle. And I'm like, what's wrong with you? Bring me back some White Castle. I'm playing Zelda. Weirdo, So that was my thing. When I was around 10 or 11, A Link to the Past comes out. And because I played so much Zelda and everything like that, that my worldview was very, very small of video games. So whatever my dad just kind of had there is what I played. So that's how I also got introduced to Castlevania and some other games as well. But Zelda was my jam. So a few years later, again, SNES comes out. Due to people, my dad got remarried and other family things, I kind of end up being like the forgotten one. And it was okay. I understood, new family, we got to make room. I get it. But for that Christmas, they had totally forgotten about me on Christmas, and it was fine. But late at night, we come home from a big family Christmas to do, and my dad and my stepmom, they were like, oh, Santa still has gifts for you. I never believed in Santa, so I was like, y'all want to just give it to me in the morning? I'm going to bed, and they're like, no, Santa has a gift for you, go sit by the tree. And I'm like, okay. I'm falling asleep at the tree, okay, and I hear them coming down the stairs, and by the way, I could hear all the tissue paper and wrapping and cutting upstairs. I mean, come on. So they come downstairs, and Santa left this for you. And I'm like, thanks, Daddy. I mean, Santa, open up the bag. It was an SNES, and it was all for me. It was mine. Brother wasn't there to take over. This is mine right here. This is mine. And it came, of course, with Mario. It's my favorite Mario, and I never can remember the exact name. Super Mario World.
Super Mario World. Yeah,
thank you.
My favorite. That's my favorite too.
Yes, and that's why I like Wonder so much, because it gives me that vibe of that game.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so I had that one, and then of course A Link to the Past was in there. So we got to get to Mario, but Link comes first. In my life, and talk about mind blown. Going from 8-bit and the game slowing down to 1 frame per second, jumping into A Link to the Past. It's like, gaming's never going to get better than this. Nothing is ever going to blow my mind like this. Whatever. And I'll talk more about that when we get into our favorites and everything. So some time goes on. I get older. My mom and I, in our side of the family, we had to move to Texas. Her job moved here. So my dad was back in Missouri, and my mom didn't let me play video games. So kind of fell out of touch with that. Years go on, late teens, early. Oh, you're too old for video games. Who wants to play? Nobody plays video games anymore. What are we, 12? There was that attitude around me. So years go by and I just don't think about gaming. I would hear different things, but never really paid attention to it. And one day I was at home and I'm like very late 20s, about to turn 30 or something like that. And just so happened there was a commercial on the television and it was for Twilight Princess. That's how long it had been. And
Joycey, you're saying after A Link to the Past, it had been till Twilight Princess? Okay. I just want to make sure I didn't miss a game.
Yeah, I went for a very, very long time. Like I
Wow.
played like other little Zelda games, like with my cousins and stuff like that. But I never.
Sure.
But my mom was like, "You're not sitting down in front of a TV. Go outside." I got plenty of outside time. I read books all the time, so
Right.
whatever. So all this time had passed, and I'm too old to play video games. But let me tell you something about Link. Link and I had a special thing going on, okay? And I just left him. No Dear John letter, no goodbye, no nothing. I literally left him at my dad's house, and I'm pretty sure my dad gave that SNES away. But I was watching a commercial, and it was Twilight Princess. And I remember I used to love Zelda. I said, when did Link start looking like this? And like, what? We're riding horseback now. Oh my God, Ganon. That's Ganon. I swear I remember Ganon, but I can't remember what trailer it was. And it was for the Wii. And I was like, but you're a little cartoon and they still make Zelda games. What? Is Sheik Zelda in this one? What? I heard something about that. Who is Sheik? I went out that weekend because I finally had grown-up people money, and I'm like, I live alone. My mama don't pay a damn bill in this house. I went with my adult money, and I got myself a Wii, and of course, I got Twilight Princess. And then I got online, and I'm seeing all these games I've missed. Mm-hmm. And it was kind of heartbreaking in a way because I said, there's a whole part of myself that I just let go because I was supposed to, and I felt a way about that, but it wasn't necessarily anybody's fault. It's just the kind of the way things are. And, my mom really genuinely thought that video games were going to rot my brain. Right. Yeah. Because back then, all of the boomers.
That's what they all thought.
Yeah, that's what they all thought. They thought Pokemon was the devil. Mortal Kombat was going to take us all to hell. Everything was just blood, gore, video games bad. This was a very different time because the boomers actually had a good argument back then. Now I don't know anybody who's trying to make that argument stick because we were the hardcore gamers as kids, so we shouldn't have that argument. But anyway,
not to interrupt, Joycey, but I feel very blessed that my mom was the opposite. She loved that I would stay home and play video games, and she'd always be like, I'm so glad my son's a gamer and isn't out there doing drugs. My mom would always say that. Yeah. She would always, my whole childhood, it was like, I'm so happy my son's a gamer and he's not out there selling drugs or doing drugs.
Yeah, I got a lot of that too.
Yeah. The thing is that, I think my mom and my dad, in a way, they tried to put me in this bubble. Like bad things don't happen as long as you listen to what I say. And I had those kind of parents, listen to what I say or I'm gonna knock you out. So 80s, we were 80s kids, y'all. So that's the way the boomers handled it. No gentle parenting for us. But anyway, I looked online and I saw these games that I missed. And I was like, should I even play this now? Don't I have to play them in order? Things like that. And I just sat down and I was playing Twilight Princess. Funny story, and I told this on the Nintenbyte podcast, but I'll tell you guys. So we get to the Temple of Time, and I'm like, all right, I'm going through this game. I'm going pretty smooth. Like me and Link didn't miss a beat. Like we just got back together and everything. It's beautiful, honey. And then I saw what the boss was for the Temple of Time in Twilight Princess. And I said, I got to look up, don't I? Oh, Lord, I got to look up. And judging by all the crawly things I've seen in this temple, Child, I looked up and I was suddenly in Australia. Didn't save or nothing. I said, no. I have acute arachnophobia. So, which is wild because I live in Texas, and in Texas, like, yes, the bugs are 10 times bigger than, yeah, we're basically like the little Amazon down here. So I was freaked out, didn't come back to the game for about 4 months. And I said, look, we're going to have to play this. Because the thing is, it's not that we haven't seen this particular enemy before, but this one was really, really realistic. I'm pretty sure Australia has a 8-legged spider with a big eye on the back. Just saying. The spiders over there are no joke. So, but I go back and I'm like, okay, it's fake. It can't hurt you. Because the Spatulas, for whatever reason, they didn't scare me. But Argoma scared the shit out of me. I'm a grown woman, by the way, at this time. Just saying. And I finally went back and I got over it. And then it was the final scene of that is absolutely hilarious after you defeat that boss. So I was like, it was worth going back. And I had actually restarted the whole game knowing that part was coming. But then I got through it and it was fine. And then I went back and I played all the old games I could get my hands on. I bought myself 3DS. I found all the old the 3DS games. I somehow I forgot who gave it to me. I think one of my coworkers did from way back when. They're 2DS, so I could play. I think it was Phantom Hourglass and Spirit Tracks. So basically, all this time, me and Link were separated by forces not out of our own, and I don't usually take men back. But Link's different. I basically just went through a divorce, the equivalent of a divorce last year. So I was like, I don't take you back if you act a fool. But Link acted right. So he's like, come on, girl, we used to go on adventures together. What are you doing? Just sitting there being an adult, paying bills and shit? Yeah, I deserve a video game. And it's because of Zelda, though. To bring it back a little bit more serious, it is because of The Legend of Zelda, though. I got to catch up, and then also being older, it's like, okay, let's spread out a little bit. So I was able to get on the hype train for the OG Switch, right? And when Breath of the Wild was coming down the pipeline, and I think I had finished, I forgot which game it was, but I finished one of the other Zelda games like a few years before the Switch came out. So that's when it was Zelda Wii U. We called it Zelda Wii U. And then we got Breath of the Wild, and then we found out it was coming out on the Switch and everything. And I remember that time period, just, and I had just gotten back into playing games, and I found so many gamers online on YouTube. And I was like, people play games online? Should have started a channel then, but I didn't think. And so I was back in the gaming community. It was fun. And all this energy and excitement for Zelda. It's like, I have found my people. I said, this is my village. I should live here. Because these are the same people who are the same age as me, who are just as psyched as I am. So this is obviously not just a hobby for kids. So, and like Tiger Time was saying, I did everything I could possibly do when I first got Breath of the Wild. And, you're in the little cave and and Zelda's telling you to wake up. I did everything I could possibly do in that cave because I said, once I go out there, I said, I know it's going to be a big deal. And I had noticed, I was like, we don't have a title screen anymore. That's interesting. Go out into the Great Plateau, and that's when the cutscene hits.
So good.
Tears. Okay. Tears. I said, I'm finally getting my moment. It felt like, in a way, I'm getting my moment. Y'all got to party together when Ocarina of Time came out, and I said, I'm witnessing the next gen's Ocarina of Time moment, and I'm still glad that I'm here, a part of this. And all I could think was, started from the bottom, now we're here. Started from 8 bits, and now we're here at Breath of the Wild. So we'll talk more as the show keeps going, but that's my gaming story. But like I said, I Twilight Princess is what brought me back. Twilight Princess on the Wii is what brought me back.
I love that it was both Zelda that brought you in and Zelda that brought you back. I think that's really cool.
Yeah, thank you. Link's my boy. Blue. Oh, sorry. I keep forgetting this isn't a regular live stream where I just shout random shit in the chat and Nate just laughs. Or he cries. It depends on what I'm saying.
It's your first time on the podcast. Everybody shouts random shit on this podcast. So, Jesus.
Dum dum diddy. Y'all don't know what that one's from. Anyway. Oh, and speaking of which, I am wearing my Zelda.
Hey, Minish Cap.
Yep.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I love the shirt. All right.
Thank you.
I guess it means it is my turn. Sorry, I was gone for a moment, guys. Those not watching the video version.
All right, so we can all take a break then, since Nate's back.
I was trying to get ice water, and it was just a bigger struggle than it needed to be. Let me tell you. All right. So, what does Zelda mean to me? Look, guys. I could literally talk everyone's ears off for hours on this. I've done it before on live streams and on former podcasts, like the Nintendo Prime podcast. Talked about it many a time. So I'm going to try to condense a lot of it. For starters, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Zelda. I don't mean like alive, but I wouldn't. The Nintendo Prime YouTube channel wouldn't exist because this Nintendo Prime YouTube channel used to be the Zelda Informer YouTube channel, which is a website I was editor-in-chief of for a decade. That website I would have never been editor-in-chief of if I didn't run other fan websites, including my own, such as Zelda Domain, made on geocities.com back in 1998. Inspired to do that after playing Ocarina of Time. So I literally, this whole career, the reason you even know who I am is due to The Legend of Zelda. Now, that's interesting. That's neat. You guys know I love Zelda, and if you don't know, you just haven't been around long enough to see it, because we haven't really had I didn't go like crazy with Echoes of Wisdom back in 2024. So like the last time I went crazy about Zelda was in 2023. And because there was no DLC or anything with Tears of the Kingdom, that kind of came and went. But by the time we got past the summer, haven't really talked a ton of Zelda since then, beyond just like predicting things about future of the franchise. And then there was Age of Imprisonment, which I did call my game of the year last year because of how much I love Zelda. Now, Zelda's importance to me isn't really about what I do here on YouTube or any of that. I started playing Zelda. Ironically, I was about 7 years old. I was born in 86. And I've heard of Zelda. My dad was kind of the gamer in the house. He had the NES and everything, but he would pretty much never let me play it. And he didn't have The Legend of Zelda in his collection. He had a lot of other really good games, but he didn't have Zelda because the NES was kind of from his childhood. My parents had me very young, so they were like 18. So like a lot of his stuff that he got was from his parents. And I didn't have a Game Boy until I was 8, and I was riding the bus and I saw someone playing in front of me this really cool looking game on a Game Boy, and I knew what a Game Boy was. And I asked him if I could play it. He said no. I said, "You're gonna let me play it?" He said no. So I punched him on the shoulder and took it.
Nice.
In that Game Boy was Link's Awakening. I took the Game Boy home. That I did. Of course, I got busted. Wow. It's at like 3 a.m. playing it because I was sneaking batteries because I didn't have the power cable because it wasn't my Game Boy.
Well, I think we need to go back to the fact that you stole a Game Boy.
Yeah, this is a story I've told before. Legitimately told. This is how my Zelda journey began.
That's a fun story.
His Zelda origin story is a tale of crime.
It is. It is. So it's easier for me to like smile about it now after everything that happened, but obviously it was a pretty big asshole move. I got in so much trouble. Oh my god, I didn't get to play video games for like 6 months. It was bad. Anyways, So obviously the next day my mom marches me to school, makes me find the person, give the Game Boy back, all that. But I couldn't help after being grounded, and I did apologize. I felt a little bad, especially after I realized how badass this game was. I'm like, sucks for this kid. He can't play it right now. Really,
Jeez.
As you're illegally enjoying his Game Boy.
Yep.
That's so predatory.
Oh, by the way, I deleted his save file too. So, anyways, I was just an asshole.
You didn't tell us that part before. Good Lord.
I got an in-school suspension, and that
No reason for that.
that kind of woke me the fuck up.
Yeah, there's literally 3 files. Just rude.
I hated it when people did that when you rent a game and
Well, at least I
they
understood
delete
with the game
the save
rentals.
files.
I understand with the game rentals because, like, yeah,
No, because if there's 3 slots and you rent it, you return it, and then the next weekend you rent it, and they're all clear now except for one, there's no reason for that. We both of our files could have coexisted, and another one could have, but you just wanted to delete all of them because you're an asshole. Not you, but this is what people would do when you rent games.
I'm an asshole. No, game rentals for me back then, the save files were always all taken up, so you always had to delete if you wanted to play it for yourself. I always felt bad because I always wondered if it was like someone is actually going to re-rent this. So I would look at the save files and look at the play time on them and be like,
I did that.
Yeah.
Or the oldest one.
Only played for like
oldest
40
one,
minutes.
too.
That's the one
Yeah.
I'm going to delete. If I see one on here that's got like 20 hours, dude, they might be renting this shit again. So
Yeah, I'm not touching that. Yeah.
yeah, I'm like, I'll delete the 40-minute one because I don't think they had a good time. And they only lost 40 minutes. They can get that back if they really want it. That wasn't always the case. There was one game I rented. I can't remember what it was, but it had 3 save files filled up, and all of them were over 30 hours. And I'm like, oh fuck. So then I tried to play one of them, and I didn't know what the fuck was going on. So I'm like, someone's gonna be mad at me. I'm deleting. It is what it is. Because I definitely rented that game multiple times. Several people. It might have been one person and their friends doing it. I don't fucking know. Anyways, so
I used
Zelda.
I used to judge the names on the save files. I used to just judge by the name. Like if I saw a name like Kimothy, I'd be like, this kid sucks.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Fuck that kid. Okay, so Game Boy, I had to return it obviously the next day, apologize and all that. I didn't actually get in like any trouble with the school or even that kid's parents, because apparently that kid's parents were pissed that he even brought it to school because he wasn't supposed to. So he was already in trouble that he even brought it to school. So we both were in trouble basically. We kind of became friends after that for a while, but kind of weird that that's how we became friends. We both did things we weren't supposed to be doing. But I got grounded, obviously, and wasn't allowed to touch the NES or anything. I could go to school, I could come home and do chores, eat, go to bed, read a book if I want. I was always allowed to read books, not comic books. Oh no, they had to take it with the fun stuff. So no pictures in the books. You're reading chapter. So I started getting into Harry Potter and stuff. So you know what? And it ended up working out for me. But the whole time in school, me and this kid, because he was grounded too, because he broke the rules and took shit to school he wasn't supposed to. This whole time, him and I were in class drawing pictures from Link's Awakening, dreaming of when we could play that game again. It was awesome.
Intended.
Well, didn't know.
I was just about to say
Ooh,
pun
that's
intended.
At the time, right? Had no idea. Hadn't beat the game yet. So obviously, my biggest want, for that upcoming Christmas was I want a Game Boy. I want Link's Awakening. I want a Game Boy. I want Link's Awakening. And then my grandma ended up surprising me and getting that for me. So that was really nice of her, much to my parents' chagrin. You gave him what he stole. I can't steal it now. I have. Grandma's thinking. She's thinking. My grandma was the one who always had my back with video games. My parents, even though my dad liked the game, it really wasn't a lot of. They were trying to get me to do other things, which I did plenty. I was playing sports around and everything else, but
I feel like you were the type of kid that, like, if you had to return it, you broke it. That way, it was like, well, none of us get Game Boy.
No, I wasn't that mean. I actually felt pretty guilty that I did that because I'd never done anything like that before. But also we had like this little kid gang at the school, and I was the leader of it. So normally I didn't have to do anything. I would just say, "Give it to me," and they would. So,
You were the kid who took other children's PB&Js and did
no. We
didn't
bully people. So we had like two little kid gangs on the playground, and all we would do is compete against each other for supremacy. But we wouldn't like steal people's lunch money or do any of that kind of shit. But whenever I was people to give me something, they would give it to me, and I would always give it back to him. And to be fair, if that kid would have let me play it on the bus, I would have just handed it back to him when I got off the bus. But of course, a couple of my little friend gang were on the bus. And so there was a little bit of encouragement when I said, "Hey, no, you're going to give it to me." And they said, "No." They both kind of looked at me like, "You going to fucking take that?" I'm like, "Dude, I'm the leader."
Your cortisol was spiking.
Yeah, you don't fucking say no to me.
Testosterone, cortisol.
I had to do something. Anyways, wasn't good. Obviously, it ended up working out. We became friends, and it was all cool. And it opened my mind to be like more accepting of all other people, not just people in my friend group. So, I actually ended up being kind of a nice moment, nice learning moment. And then,
did you all hug at the end?
Once we both wrong around, dude, he was the only kid in school that played Zelda besides me. So it was awesome. Like we actually bonded over Zelda for a while until he ended up going back to the public schools, like a couple grades later. Anyways. So so that's how I discovered Zelda was Link's Awakening. And then we had my grandma had a computer with dial up. So I was curious, like, there has to be other games besides this one. This game ended as just a dream. Okay, well, there's got to be other Zelda games. This can't be it. So I looked up, and sure enough, there's Zelda 1, Zelda 2 on NES. So, I'm trying to tell my dad, "Hey, Dad, you want to try some Zelda? Take me to Blockbuster quick." So we went to Blockbuster, rented both. I ended up both having a really good time playing the Zelda 1 and 2. And then from there, just kept playing all the new Zeldas. Eventually got a SNES, played A Link to the Past. Had an N64. Never owned at the time Ocarina of Time. But I might as well have. So I could make X amount of money per week doing chores. And from 1998 through, I want to say like January of 2000, I had a copy of Ocarina of Time rented out from Blockbuster because I took my money I made every week to extend my rental. So it literally, I spent probably way more than it would have been just to buy the game, but I didn't want to stop playing. I literally did not want to stop. I did not want to return it. But I also knew I can't just keep it. My parents are going to get fines and all this shit. They might not let us rent anymore. I mean, whatever. I don't want to do that. It wasn't crossing my mind as a kid that, if I just stopped playing for like 5 months, I could just buy the fucking thing and keep my money. But whatever. So I just kept re-renting it. And it's just how long it took me to beat it, because I was, you might be like, "Oh, you're a kid." I'm like, "Yeah, but a kid that was playing 5 sports and in musicals and in choir and band and all this. Like, I was very, very busy. Plus, I was starting to get into women around that time. I'm 12, 13. I'm starting to be like, "Oh, yeah, I like women. This is kind of, I hit on them a little bit." So, like, I had a really full life. So, it taking that long to beat the game isn't really surprising. And it wasn't because I wasn't playing it every day. I just wasn't doing 5-6 hour sessions every day. Plus, I had Eric that I was hanging out with. And we would do things as well. Lots of outside stuff, because, like, we always knew that we'd do a sleepover and do all-nighters playing games. But in order to make our parents less mad about it, during the day, we'd play outside. So it's like, "Oh, you guys were up all night playing video games. We were up all day playing outside. You didn't say anything then?" Try to balance it out. The argument didn't work very well. There were sometimes that we got busted with it. It did not end well. But it's like, we're going to do this every time, right? Like, we just got better at sneaking around and not getting caught being up. It helps that, like, it was always at Eric's house, because at my house, the problem was there's a TV in the basement. My dad would keep sleeping in the basement. His house, nobody was in the basement but me and him, where the big TV was. So it's very easy to get away with it. We just have to, like, pay attention to, like, footsteps. We hear footsteps in the kitchen, everything shut down. They didn't do the thing like stash his mom and walk up and see if it was warm. So we got away with quite a bit. I think one of the nights that we got busted. To be fair, we were making like DiGiorno pizzas at like 3 a.m. And it went ding, and that we got busted that time. Yeah, she didn't let us eat the pizzas, but she said eat the pizzas and go to bed.
No way! Wow.
So at least right, the food's made already. Let's not waste it. The DiGiornos are expensive. Eat that shit. Go to sleep. Anyways, so yeah, there was just a lot of Zelda playing throughout my life from that point forward. As I said, it led to me making a website dedicated to Ocarina of Time at the time. Then I expanded it to the other Zelda games, making guide content and covering like the little scant news that I would get from like Nintendo Power magazine back then, because there wasn't a lot of actual news on the internet. And just to kind of condense this down, because I could be talking all night about this stuff. Zelda has done things for me on a personal level that I didn't know video games could. I'm sure people on this show have maybe seen it, maybe not. There's that fan-made mini movie called Escape. It is about a little girl who has parents that are very argumentative, slightly abusive even at times. And the only way that she's able to survive all that is she escapes into the world of The Legend of Zelda through playing the game. Even after the mom takes the system and smashes it, she closes her eyes to go to sleep, and she's right back in the game. A way to handle that kind of... It was a really, really well put together short film. And it reminded me of my childhood. And this is no offense to my parents. I love them. They're amazing people. But they argued a shitload growing up. I can't remember a day that there weren't just nonstop arguments. And video games were like one of the ways I can kind of like shut it all out. And Zelda was especially the one that, like, if I'm playing Zelda, dude, I don't know what the fuck's going on around me. I'm just in it. And so it really helped me deal with some of that stuff back then. And then it helped me at other key points in my life. For some reason, every time a new Zelda game comes out, there's something kind of dramatic going on in my life. I'm kind of scared what's going to what dramatic things happening with the next Zelda game that comes out, because it happened with Tears of the Kingdom. It happened with Breath of the Wild. I'm like, oh, fuck. I'm like, please don't have... I want one game release to come out where there's nothing dramatic going on that I need to play it just to get away. I don't want to get away. I want to be in addition to positives in my life. But that's the thing. The Zelda series has always been that way for me. It's been a way to escape all the bullshit going on. And it's still that way. Even now, like, you know, I've had a really hard time, obviously, with some of my family stuff going on that's well known publicly at this point. And I got through some of that playing Zelda, booting Tears of the Kingdom back up and getting lost in the world again, just to get my mind off of things. And your mind, with what I was going through with my son, it's never really completely away from it. But he likes Tears of the Kingdom. So I'd be thinking of him while playing. It almost felt like we were back when he first started playing. I'd start a new file and just be helping him get through some early stuff in the game. And it was a way to help me process things. And Zelda has just always kind of been that series to me. It is my favorite video game series of all time. I've had a very emotional history with the series. It has led to the career that I have today. God forbid I ever thought this would be a fucking career. And the crazy thing is, growing up, is I didn't know very many people who played Zelda, like, at all.
Mm-hmm.
Nintendo in general. Like, once we got past the SNES, dude, everyone was PlayStation, Xbox. There wasn't hardly anyone in my school playing Nintendo. They was viewed as a kiddie system for babies. I got made fun of. Still get made fun of, ironically, to this day, playing Nintendo. I just don't give a shit anymore. Literally just don't give a shit anymore. It's like, okay, cool. I'm fucking 39. Am I supposed to give a shit what you think about my life at this point? You worry about yourself. I'm sure you got some shit that I can make fun of. I just don't care. But yeah, it's just really interesting how the series has evolved with me. And like, when people have seen, like, even on my YouTube channel, like when Tears of the Kingdom got revealed, that's one of the first like major Zelda moments as Nintendo Prime. I went fucking nuts in that hotel room on live stream. Dude, people saw my stomach with my hernia for the first time. because I couldn't control I like literally flew back onto the hotel bed and my shirt went up. Didn't know that wasn't supposed to happen. And then I was so excited. I went off screen and came back on with my E3 2016 Breath of the Wild shirt. Just like pumped. Literally told Doug Bowser to shut the fuck up. Shut up, Doug Bowser. Nobody wants to hear you because I needed time to process what just happened. And like that was a raw moment. That was not like an exaggerated moment for the live stream. That was literally raw emotions that would have happened even if I wasn't live. And Eric has seen that sometimes in the past, not live, seen some of those reactions, not just to Zelda, but Zelda's the one that usually, especially 3D ones, that get like the biggest reaction. So Zelda's just always been a really, really special series to me, and it always will be. And regardless if there's a day that I ever slow down in gaming and don't play, right now I'm probably beating actually beating about 6 or 7 games a year. If it ever gets down to the point where I'm really not beating games anymore, Zelda will always be the one that gets beat. That'll be the one I'll always make time until my hands literally don't work. And at that point, I'm going to hope there's some other handicap devices I can use to continue to play. Because the series just means that much to me. I mean, it's gotten to the point where my fiance, who I've been with for 15 years, she wasn't like a gamer at all, besides like playing some Mario and Donkey Kong growing up, but she didn't really play games. After hearing me IRL, forget the YouTube channel, in real life, nonstop trying to talk about Breath of the Wild for like 5 years, she was like, okay, he keeps fucking talking about this fucking game. Okay, you know what? Maybe I should try it. Just to see. I didn't even know she was trying. I was not home when this happened. I come home. Honey, you playing Breath of the Wild? Whose save file are you on? Mine. Oh. Honey, you're off the intro area. How long have you been playing this fucking game? I don't know. I started playing at 7 a.m. Honey, it's 4 p.m. I'm like, having a good time, are we?
That's the best.
And she's like,
Yeah.
I really suck at the controls, but dude, this game, there's just so much. I love exploring. I'm like, yes. Yes. I'm
Yeah.
talking about, baby. That's one of the best things in Breath of the Wild. All that exploration. There's always something everywhere. It's awesome, even if it's a stupid Korok seed. And she just fell in love with Breath of the Wild to the point now that like she's got Zelda shirts now, Breath of the Wild shirts. She's got like Zelda swimsuits and stuff now. She's not as into Zelda as me, but all she keeps asking me since she beat Tears of the Kingdom is, hey, when's the next one? I'm like, honey, it's like 6 to 7 year waits for games like this. So I wish you can go back and play some of the old ones. She tries them. I don't like these ones. I guess you don't like them as much. You're into the open world. I get that. Okay, yeah, the other more linear ones probably won't feel your kind of style, your kind of pace. It's not as explorative. I get it. And even Tears of the Kingdom, when she played it, she initially was like, I don't think I really like this, because like the intro area in Tears of the Kingdom was just not as good. It's just not. And she's like, I just told her, just keep playing. Give it a little while. Okay, just get out off the top island and get like another 10 hours in. And if you're not feeling it, it's fine. 10 hours later, she's like, honey, I might like this more than Breath of the Wild. I'm like, yes, that's my woman. Oh, this is awesome. Dude, she was duplication glitching to get money in the game. What the fuck? She's never done a glitch in her whole life. And here she is, jumping, parasail, pause, grab the items, drop them all, unpause. Woo! Double everything. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? You can still do that, by the way, in the game, guys. You just got to delete all the data off your thing, put the physical cartridge back in, don't update the game. You can still duplication glitch. But it was insane. There's other ways to duplication glitch. It was way more complicated. When the game updated on its own, she was mad that the duplication glitch went away, because one of the things that happens, like in the first half, I don't know what you had, the first half of me playing Tears of the Kingdom, you're broke as fuck.
Yep.
And almost all your money is going to like buying arrows.
Yep.
So, and she's like, fuck this. I could just like duplication glitch a bunch of fucking diamonds and sell them. Yes, you can. So she literally did like like 6 straight hours of just farming diamonds like that, just so she could max out her rupees. It was insane. Anyways, and then when they got fixed, like, this game isn't as good without duplication. So I'm like, no, it's just as good. But honey, you got like 900,000 rupees. I think you're good. I don't think you need a duplication glitch anymore. I think you're fine. Well, I ran out of muddle buds. I'm like, yeah, you go down and farm some. I don't know what to tell you. There's a couple places you can buy some. It is what it is. Because that's a really fun ability. And here's the kingdom to make all the enemies fight each other. But yeah, no, she ended up having a really good time. The fact that she was even doing a glitch at all, I'm like, dude, you're deep into Zelda now. And you're getting to the point of doing glitches. Shit, man. I wish I would have got you in back in the Ocarina of Time days, dude. You could have learned how to do the fucking side steps and glitch through the walls. Like, oh my god, dude. Like, you could end up doing a dungeon out of order. Like, man, I didn't know you back then. Couldn't get you into it back then. But, like, that's just a special moment to me, because I never thought in my wildest dreams that my fiance, who I've been with for 15 years, would ever be into Zelda like I was. And I didn't care that she wasn't. That's not why I'm with her. But then as I'm already in love with her, this happens. Got my perfect woman, man. So, yeah, Zelda's amazing. And it's going to be amazing probably the rest of my life, even if they end up being that microtransaction trash Gamebird's trying to bring up. I can always go back and replay the oldies.
They can do that part after we're dead.
Zelda's one of the few franchises that I will occasionally replay here and there. And I know, like, this is one I have to bring this up. And Eric saw a lot of me playing Wind Waker back in the day. That was one because like, he had a sale forever.
That was one of the ones that you just handed me the controller and went, here.
Go this way. I just said, just make sure I'm still pointed this direction. Yep. I'll be back in like 20 minutes. Whole time I'm on the phone talking to my girlfriend. I'm like, look, this is kind of a boring part of the game. I've done this enough. I don't need to keep sailing for 20 minutes before I get to where I need to be. Thankfully they did fix the Wii U version with the quick sale, but yeah, it was Zelda is literally my favorite thing to do in video games. There's nothing that really tops it. I'm not saying all the Zelda games are like it's all you grab all 18, 19, 20 games and there's my top 20 games of all time. No, of course not. I enjoy a lot of other games. But the franchise itself, there's not a single game franchise in the world that I enjoy as consistently as Zelda. Everything, even Echoes of Wisdom, which to me was just okay. That just okay is better to me than Mario Wonder.
Well,
that's how much Zelda does it for me. That's how much Zelda does it for me. So, yeah, that's what I got. All right.